Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's beautiful 22nd of February, 2025. Come on, this episode of the Crusty podcast, episode 343, Four Nations, Liberal Lies, Fake Patriots, and More Bloody Dramas. That's right, more CBC whining, more liberal conspiracies, and other dilemmas. Oh my, it's going to be a great show. Please stick around. Listener view discretion is advised because I will smoke cigarettes, swear, and of course, make fun of our leaders as per. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Oh, yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 343, Four Nations, Liberal Lies, Fake Patriots, and More Dramas. Oh my God. And this episode is brought to you in part by and supported by Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, Veterans for Freedom Stand 2. And coming soon, of course, Veterans for Freedom TV. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Hope you've all had a great couple of days. If you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, share this podcast, all of your social media platforms too. I want to say thank you out there to my new subscribers and the new comments I have been receiving, especially when I do my live stream. Just a reminder to ladies and gentlemen, when you see me come out live, like when this episode premieres, just let me know where you're writing from. I don't care where in the world. Just let me know. Give me a consensus of where things are going, because I know I'm getting bigger and bigger every episode. So please just let me know where you're writing from so I just get an idea. And just remind yourselves, you guys are awesome. I am very, very appreciative of the new support I've had over the past couple of months. Thank you very much. Here's a round of applause. I've had some issues with my soundboard here, something to do with my connections. I don't know, maybe I need some cords or something. However, my sound effects are off. So let me know if you hear the applause or whatever. So if there's a pause in the show, anyway, yeah, carry on. So Four Nations, Liberal Lies, Fake Patriots, and More Dramas. That's right. So Canada won. Out of the Four Nations tournament, Canada kicked ass 3-2, beat the Americans. Okay, that's great. Excuse me, but with all the booing and everything that was going on, the animosity between the two fan bases, and of course the slaughtering of our anthem. Now, I'm a firm believer, say what you want, believe what you want, and all that good stuff. And Chantal Kraviaksik, in her own right, she's a talented musician. I think she's married to the lead singer from Our Lady of Peace. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm getting sick and tired of the virtue protests. I'm getting sick of the virtue stances because the prime minister has changed the anthem there a few years ago, and I'm getting sick and tired of the wishy-washy feelings about it. Now, I wonder if some of you remember the controversy there a few years back when the Raptors won the NBA title, and they had some singer saying something about Canada being on native land. Now, if you want to get technical about what land is this, what land is that, every piece of North America and every piece of South America was once native land, one way or the other. Okay? Get over it. Get over it. Okay. I will honor traditions. I will respect First Nations, but I'm getting sick and tired of people messing with the anthems, with our history, with everything else, just to have a grievance. Okay. I was not raised in a household where I have to hate somebody or treat somebody like they're conquered or destroyed. That's not my thing, but I grew up in Canada. I fought for Canada, and I'll still keep fighting for Canada. I'm not going to be fighting for Canada and this here and fight for Canada and that there, or this here, this. I fight for Canada and all the people therein. That's who I served. That's who I will fight for. That's who I believe in, period. And that's all people in Canada, all people. And I'm allies with the United States, allies with my friends in Britain, all that good stuff. So if people want to scream and yell and get all mad and twist the anthem around, fine, you go right ahead. I'm believe in free speech. But the anthem is there for a reason, to celebrate our country, to celebrate our differences, and to celebrate what this country is. Right? And all thy sons command is about the people that have sacrificed for the nation. And if you think that's sexist, that's on you, not me. Anyway, carrying on. So Canada won, Four Nations 3-2. Great. Hockey's over. So how about we carry on to some normalcy again? How about we start analyzing who's calling the shots and who's in charge here too? Now, in recent news, I guess from yesterday, Ruby Dahlia or Dalla, was disqualified from the Liberal race. Now, I'll put this article up here from National Post. I guess she had a lot to say in regards to Mark Carney and what he is and what he does. And she's kind of impressed a lot of conservatives in their own right with her common sense approach about immigration, about her economic policies, what have you. And apparently she was disqualified from running, apparently. Now, how many other individuals have been disqualified from running? There's another Indian guy who was from, he was born in India, but he was in the Liberal Party. What was his name? Well, he wasn't around long enough to really make a difference. But needless to say, here's the article from yesterday. Ruby Dalla disqualified from Liberal leadership race over extremely serious violations. Now, the party's national director, Azam Ismail, said Dalla was in violation of 10 leadership rules, including inaccurate financial reporting. Now, every one of these candidates that has run for the leadership has had to pay some like 300 grand in name of towards the Liberal Party, so they won't get that money back. Anyhow, in Ottawa, 2 Liberal leadership committees unanimously decided to disqualify former MP Ruby Dalla in the race to become leader of the party on Friday, alleging that she breached no less than 10 violations of the rules of the race, including inaccurate financial reporting. The party's national director, Azam Ismail, said in a statement that the decision followed an extensive process and review, including interviews, questionnaires, and an opportunity for Dalla to directly address concerns to the committee members. After a thorough investigation, the Leadership Vote Committee and the Leadership Expense Committee, sitting jointly, unanimously determined that Dr. Dalla was in violation of 10 of the national leadership rules, leadership vote rules, and the leadership expense rules, Ismail said. Violations include concerns about alleged violations of the Canadian Elections Act, certain other election finance non-disclosure of material facts, inaccurate financial reporting. He continued, adding that violations were extremely serious. So this sounds like a really big deal. Now, regardless of how you personally feel about the Liberal brand, I think there's something fishy going on with this. That's just my take on it. And I'll leave this article in the description for you to follow at your own leisure, ladies and gentlemen. However, since this race, it's just been a distraction after another. Distraction. Bread and circuses. We've all heard that before, right? We've all heard the issue when it comes to how the government wants to appease the masses by funding this crap out. Now, for a party like the Liberal Party that's supposed to be diverse and inclusive and being, equal and everything, they're really taking a run at the minority members of the party. Do you not see that sequence, really? Do you not see that? Do you not see how they've treated women in that party? Miss Cesar Chavez, who was chewed out by the PM, Jody Wilson-Raybould, Jane Philpott, right? Not to mention maybe other members behind closed doors, right? And now this, okay? Now, my friends at Northern Perspective put together a good video today about Ruby Dalla, and I'll include that in the links too, so you can judge for yourself. They found some information about some of her business dealings prior or just after her time in Parliament about 10, 15 years ago. So you decide, ladies and gentlemen, who knows, right? And this wasn't a witch hunt on their part. This was just them trying to figure some shit out. Like we all are here. We're all trying to figure things out. Okay? We're going to be in a financial crisis sometime soon over this tariff issue. Okay? And a lot of people are really taking seriously what Donald Trump said about the 51st state. And there's people in my circle that are weighing the odds. Would it be a better option or be a terrible option? Or is the grass going to be greener on the other side? Needless to say, we have leadership that's not doing their fucking part still. We don't have a government that's sitting properly. Okay, we don't. They're not in Parliament right now. They're probably going to come back in a couple of weeks, but we'll see after this Liberal Party election to see what's going to happen. More or less, just brace for another shitstorm, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. So when I see these clowns worrying about who has the money, who has the qualifications, we got the rest of the country sitting here going, what the fuck?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, episode 343 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. 4 nations, liberal lies, fake patriots, and more dramas, just big distractions. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And if you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, share this podcast, all of your social media platforms. Do not be shy, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what's on your minds. share the wealth, whatever. Let me know when you see this broadcast. Please give me a comment, whether you like or dislike, whatever. Tell me where you're from. It doesn't matter, state, province, city, whatever. Just let me know in the comments, just so I get a better consensus on where this podcast is reaching, and just go from there. So like I said, a lot of distractions, more dramas. I've talked about this before, how many people have come out of the woodwork and now they're flag waving Patriots. Okay. Like the title card there's, you got Pierre Poilievre in the Team Canada jersey. You got the Prime Minister in the Team Canada jersey, right? Celebrating the victory. Okay. And what gets me is that where were these Patriots 3 years ago? Okay. Where were these Patriots in 2007? Where were these Patriots in 2006 when we had to bury a few lads? Where were these Patriots in Remembrance Day? Where were these Patriots in Canada Day? Where were these Patriots when I came home from my operational tour? And I had a hell of a time adjusting. So did some of my friends and my fellow service people out there. Where were these Patriots then? Hey? Anyone? Bueller? So now it's trendy to love your country again. Oh, bravo. Now, regardless if you're rallying around a hockey game, lacrosse game, baseball game, or any game for that matter, okay? If you like it here, if you love living here, good. If you don't like living here, if you don't love it here, then no one's forcing you to stay here. Okay? And we're seeing the problem with certain groups and certain cultures in regards to identities, in regards to rights. And I don't see any rights violations other than people being stifled, other than people being ignored, other than victims of certain crimes being ignored too, and criminals getting away scot-free based on identity and based on color. Okay. So Canada has always been a diverse country as far as I can remember. I've worked for many people from different shapes, from just different places, different cultures. I worked for Asian people. I've worked for Greek people. I've worked for Italians. I've worked for Black people. I've worked for French. I've worked for Germans. Right. So I've had a very, very, very diverse background in my life. I've even worked alongside First Nations. My chain of command. One of the warrant officers I used to report to on one of my courses was Cree, I believe. So we've had diversity in this country for a very long time, but now we're making excuses for poor behavior, more liberal lies. And now Mr. Carney is in the works to tell us more lies about more taxes and about more procedures, right? So with his infinite wisdom, he's going to charge people manufacturing steel. He's going to charge people manufacturing things that we need. And then the cost is going to come down to the consumer again. So the cost of living is going to go up. And there's people that praise this man like he's some kind of king. He's not a fucking king. I don't want to give him a crown. I don't want to give the son of a bitch the satisfaction. Neither should you. But that's enough of my ranting about Mr. Blarney Carney and his infinite bullshit. My concern is how the Liberal Party is going to run this big election, how this debate's going to go. Because, Karina Gold, she's a stun cow. Krista Freeland, she's high on drugs half the time. And Mark Carney can't make a decision. He's only in it for himself. And half the time he says he's Canadian, but he was also caught saying in the World Economic Forum that he's European. So which is it? Which is it? Are you a Canuck or a European? Tit for tat. What are you? Can't decide? Not sure? You just don't care. Okay? It's like the Tartar crowd says, ladies and gentlemen, distractions. Look at that disingenuous look on Trudeau's face. Really? He's all celebratory, Celebratory for what? You're on your way out, pal. You're a part of the reason why we're in this dilemma. In fact, you're probably 3/4 part of the reason with your cabinet, your decisions, and the overspending. And now you're bringing in somebody who's just like you, Trudeau version 2.0, maybe a bit older, a little more economic, a little more economically trained, hell of a lot smarter. And he is a smart man. Don't get me wrong, ladies. Mark Carney is a smart dude. He is a smart fella, but he's fucking evil. Okay? He's evil. Why is he evil? Any politician that wants to take your money for some other noble cause is evil. Any politician that says, "Oh, we're gonna have a small deficit, just a little deficit, and it's gonna be cleaned up in 3 years," right? Has anyone ever asked him how he's gonna look after security in the military in this country? Right? Is going to be more plans in the future? Right? More plans for us? More plans? Right? He's going to buy another 6 submarines, 12 submarines. We're going to put a bid out there for whatever company and whatever red tape monsters they come up with. Is they going to build some frigates? Personally, I think we could use a couple of amphibious carriers. For those of you out there who don't know what amphibious carriers are, they're basically like aircraft carriers, but they're for helicopters. If they're loading equipment, if they're dropping off troops, right? The United States Marines have them. I think the Dutch Marines have them. The Royal Marines have them. So any country that has a Marine unit basically has them. And then they're just a tactical wonder when you think about it. We could use those, right? That's just my point of view. One for the East Coast, one for the West Coast, right? We could use some better icebreakers for sure. A constant rotation, about 6 or 7 of them going up and all around. All the time, but what are their plans of these officials? There's no legitimate plan for them at all. They just want to get in and wreck stuff. That's all. And I hate to say it, but there's probably people in Ontario and Quebec that are just eating it up right now and think he's going to do wonderful things for us until they look at their bank account, until they turn their lights on and go to fill up their cars and trucks. Then they're going to realize, I guess people in the West were right.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 343, 4 Nations, Liberal Lies, Fake Patriots, and more dramas. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Crusty Canuck, your charming host, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, warm night, actually. It's a pretty balmy night out there. It's a nice +1 here in beautiful Wainwright, Alberta. Oh, my God, what a contrast from a few days ago, too. Like I said, I told friends of mine in Britain that was was going to work, and it was a -31 Celsius. Oh, my God. I had to work in that shit, so not that I'm complaining. But I am complaining, but I'm not complaining because it pays my bills, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll just keep it that simple. Anyway, it's still a nice night, so don't get too cocky out there. It's still going to be cold. It is February in Alberta, Canada, so don't get too cocky. Don't get complacent. Keep your vehicles plugged in just in case a cold snap does come, because it will come again, and it might kill your battery, and then what? And you're screwed. Anyway, enough about auto mechanics and personal car care during the winter months. Carrying on with more of this episode, too. So I'm happy Canada won. It was a good game. It was a great goal. Connor McDavid just did what he had to do. Never leave a great winger in front, right? Never do that. Never do that. So, and it was a good score. It was reminiscent of what Crosby did back in 2010 during the Vancouver Olympics. Just a fantastic feat, and it was excellent. And really, when you look at the fan base that was in Boston, right? I visited Boston 25 years ago. Beautiful city. So if there's anybody from Massachusetts who's listening to this podcast, Boston's the shit. Boston's a great town. But it was still professional, regardless of what Chantal Kreviazek, how she sang the song. Okay, I really don't care. I'm just annoyed with all this virtue bullshit and this fake patriotism. Okay, but it was still a good game. There was a fan base there rooting the boys on, and that was excellent. Okay, so it was a good game. Hockey's done. Let's focus on the NHL fans out there too. And let's focus on trying to be a better country, okay? My American friends, we don't hate you. I don't hate you. Trump is making some stupid decisions as far as I'm concerned. But the funny thing is that it has to take a president like Donald Trump to smarten up our leaders, okay? That's what blows my fucking mind this whole time. That's what annoys me the most, though, too. Okay, because the Canadian people have been telling these leaders since 2015, okay, what about the budget? What about our defense? What about our immigration? What about the housing? What about the cost of living? And they just keep fucking with it. And then here's a guy who wants to clean out the swamp like he promised back in 2016, and he's doing it, okay? And that swamp water is coming over into our politics. So in a way, that's kind of brilliant, right? But again, I'm embarrassed of the leadership in this country because it's, like I said, it has to take a U.S. president to get our leaders motivated, right? So is it going to have to take a war, a fight, some kind of attack, something bigger than a tariff threat to get our leadership more motivated? Who knows? Time will tell, right? I hate to see anything like that happen where good people are going to have to get hurt. Well, I don't want to see that, but with all this fake flag waving out there, who knows who's going to get hurt too, right? If anybody here is on X or the formerly Twitter or even on the Threads thing, that new Facebook thing too, and when some people talk about Canada, I'm seeing ignorance on both sides, not just the Canadian side, on the American side too. I had a little jib jab there with a guy from on my feed there on YouTube. And he was talking about hockey. And I just had to remind him, and I said, there's more to Canada than just hockey, my friend. And considering that you live in the state of Michigan, you have the similar weather and the similar sports and the similar demographics as what Southern Ontario has when it comes to watching football, soccer, or baseball, or basketball, or hockey. So, I just find that sometimes you get that odd ignorant statement. Like there's more to Canada than snow and ice, my American friends. Okay. There's more to Canada than in igloos or the old Bob and Doug routine. Okay. And if you don't really care, well, that's fine. You don't have to care. But when you deal with your trading partner and people that share the same continent as you should care just a little. You know what I mean? Right? You know what I mean? So that's just how it is. And trade and commerce is going to get better when you understand that, when you understand different cities, when you understand different sports aspects, when you understand different countries. Okay. Anyway, enough of that crap about our demographics. I'm just annoyed with the fake patriotism, especially since 3 years ago, there are people disenfranchising that flag. Now, I just read a bit of a story from Pierre Poilievre's page in regards to the Toronto District School Boards who want to get rid of anything with Johnny MacDonald, Canada's first prime minister, Mr. Dundas, right, and Ryerson, two individuals that apparently had something to do with slavery, according to the woke mob. But as far as I know, those two individuals try to abolish slavery. They try to abolish it, get rid of it, right? And I challenge anybody on any school board, if you happen to be listening, name me a politician from the 1860s that had no bigotry. Okay? Please do. It doesn't matter if they're American, Canadian, British. Name me a politician that had no bigotry whatsoever in the 1860s. Okay? Sir John A. was not a perfect man. Okay? He was not. He didn't really treat the Métis people very well, hence the Red River Rebellion. Okay? He didn't. He had his plan for the railroad, had his plan for Western culture and all this stuff. It wasn't. But in the same sense, he was still our first prime minister. And he came from humble beginnings, just like a lot of those leaders did in those days. And if you want to use today's psychology to justify behavior and try to shun what happened in the past, then you're not doing anybody a favor, because history is not yours to take and conjure up to tell us what to think. History is yours to learn from. It's not yours to manipulate, right? So that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's what gets me with some of these clowns who promote that, right? So Toronto School Board, up yours. Because when you're lying to kids, lying to people that want to learn, you're not helping them out. You won't be helping yourselves out too, right? Didn't we used to give, I remember 20 years ago, there were people that were dead against the church getting involved with a lot of education because of the questions in the Bible, because of people questioning certain things. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I am not disenfranchising anybody out there who is Christian or Muslim or Jewish, or if you're religious, fine. But if you have a question, you should get an answer. And not because you might offend somebody or because the possibility of you offending somebody. It's about knowledge. And not one group of people has a monopoly on knowledge. Not one group or one country or one political system has a monopoly on knowledge. Okay. I remember growing up and asking certain questions about certain things and being told to shut my mouth or being told not to question. Why not? Why not? If you take offense in your heart and soul over what Sir John A. did, what Mr. Ryerson did, what Mr. Dundas did, okay, you can take offense to it. But then again, they have been dead for a very, very long time. And North America has evolved drastically since their time in office, or since they were in charge of things, or since they were around. So hanging on to this guilt trip and just annihilating history because you want to rewrite things is null and void. And that makes you a moron as far as I'm concerned. Right? You see in my office here, I have encyclopedias. Because I was always told as a little kid, you want to know something? Look it up. Okay. And I look it up. We have this wonderful thing here to look things up too. But then you have certain aspects of our politics, especially here in Canada, Bill C-11, C-18, that have manipulated things, that have kept the information away from people. Because, as far as the government is concerned, anytime you put news out there, you better pay the CBC, which brings me to Pascal Saint-Onge, Canada's Heritage Minister, who is asking or demanding that the taxpayer pay another $1 billion a year for the sake of security and for the sake of national identity. Now, my saying towards Miss Pascal Saint-Onge, the Heritage Minister, okay, wait for it. Fuck off. Right? The CBC has proven itself to be biased more than enough times since the better part of 2015. The CBC has proven that they'd rather take money from the taxpayers and pay themselves a healthy wage and a healthy salary with bonuses or performance checks rather than put on some quality programming. Now, I've rambled about this before when it comes to Canadian television and movies and shows. And we don't see enough of the Canadiana, especially on the CBC. We might see a token show here, and we might see a token movie here, okay? But with all that money going to the CBC, do you not think they could put together a great sitcom or a few sitcoms? A few, at least, on a decent rotation. One show on a Monday night and a Wednesday night and a Friday night, okay? I remember when the CBC was actually fun to watch, especially on Sunday evenings. You had some great shows out there. You had the Beachcombers, which was a good family show. Funny, some notable characters. You had a show called Seeing Things, right? Which was a guy who had deja vu kind of thing, and he was investigating. It was actually a pretty cool show, right? Some of us grew up on Degrassi Junior High, right? The original Degrassi Junior High, not the nouveau one that made Drake a star, but the ones that we grew up in the 80s, right? Decent television, right? You had Codco, you had Kids in the Hall, decent variety sketch shows. You had Second City, fantastic fucking show, right? But where are the sitcoms? Where are the dramas? Oh, you had a few here and there. Okay. But no, if the CBC was smart, they would get rid of the wokeism, stop whining, get rid of the top heavy parts, bring in the foundation again. Bring in people that want to write a good TV series. Bring in people that want to create a good sitcom. Here's an idea. How about a kick-ass sci-fi show? Rather than Canadian actors moving down to the States to become famous actors, like William Shatner or James Doohan, who were part of Star Trek. Oh, hail Trek, right? Hail Trek. Enough of that. Yes, I'm a bit of a Star Trek geek, ladies and gentlemen. Why can't we do it up here? There's enough movies made in Alberta, especially around Calgary, enough movies made around Vancouver, and of course the GTA. The new Star Trek series, Strange New Worlds, is made at Pinewood Studios in Toronto. Why don't we have the incentive to make our own kind of Trek or to make our own kind of sci-fi series? Why can't we? Huh? So if we have to give the CBC, an extra $1 billion a year to stay afloat, to keep alive, Why can't we promote our industry just the same? I know it's a little off topic here, but like I said, I said more dramas in the in the episode header there. So self-explanatory, ladies and gentlemen. Why can't we? What are we afraid of? We've produced some great bands. We produced some great actors, some great comedians, some great talent. Let's start making stuff at home too. Let's start making some great home stories. Let's make a movie about Vimy Ridge. Let's make a great series about the Red River Rebellion. Let's make a great series about the Upper Canada Rebellion. Let's make a great series about Samuel de Champlain, or the battles between the French and the English up until the Plains of Abraham. Bit of history. Let's talk about Joseph Brant. Let's talk about Tecumseh. Let's talk about the First Nations. Let's make some really great stories. We can do it. And we got the talent and we got the skill and the money is there. But instead of forwarding it all to CBC, let's forward it to proper artists that really give a shit about this country. Something to think about. In fact, let's start forwarding things to people that give a shit about this country to make it what it is, even to make it better too. You know what I mean? It's that simple, folks. Anyhow, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 22nd of February, 2025. I wish good things for you all out there too. I know it's a longer episode, but I was just really getting into the mood for some good old dialogue like we should do anyway. And like I said, I'll leave links in my description from Northern Perspective and the Ruby Dalla issue from National Post. If you like and hear it, see, click like, subscribe, share this content over social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be shy. Let me know in the comments where you're writing from, where you're watching from, all that good stuff too. Contact information is in my description as well, so don't be shy to reach out and say hello. My mailing address is there too. If you want to send me some free stuff, some swagger, go right ahead, please. All cards and everything is welcome too. If you feel like donating, please donate if you want to. Links in the description as well. And if you don't want to, that's fine as well. But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, do what you can to protect yourselves and to look after yourselves in these trying times. Like I said, weather is nice in our area, but don't let the weather get you cocky. Keep your wits about you. We're going to have another cold snap soon because it's still winter. So don't be caught with your pants down or your car unplugged kind of thing, right? And try to find the light in this manufactured darkness, because it starts with you and it's got to start with everybody else too. And like I always say, humanity and merit wins the day. And I'll see you some other time, folks. Bye for now.
Stay updated.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.